What's up, you epic fucking gamers? We did it. 1K subscribers. Thank you all for the support. And thank you for watching my shitty content that I've been forcing upon you for the past 2 weeks. I have to say, 1K special is going to be a little bit delayed. And that's mainly because I'm still working on it. And I only really have a third of it done, as I'm putting a lot of work into it. I want to make sure it's good enough before I actually post it. Aside from that, we've been talking about Slumps in the Discord, and a lot of you wanted to see a video about it. By the way, link to the Discord in the description below. And I wanted to make an announcement along with this. I have recently decided to join Azure. I've been in talks with them. I'm going to link them in the description, and we're gonna proceed from there. But not much is changing in that case. They're not gonna limit my content in any way. As a lot of you already know, I have been on the sidelines working for Pro Guides as well, so this is just another thing that I've kind of been deciding on. Just know that me joining all these communities like Pro Guides and Azure, these aren't going to have any fucking restrictions on my content or what I can say on my channel, aside from maybe shit like don't be racist and, you know, the basic stuff that I was already trying to avoid. So, what are slumps? And I have some very personal experiences with slumps. These are one of the biggest things that actually held me back from reaching my full potential when I was younger and I was playing esports. Now, a slump is basically an extended period of time where you are just playing way worse than you usually are, and you can't explain it or you can't understand why you are playing so bad. So I'm going to teach some ways to actually get out of slumps and how to climb out of slumps that I've learned in the past that have helped me. It was so bad at a point where I was in a slump so bad that I have quit a game before. I quit Counter-Strike when I was 16 because I was in such a bad slump that I figured I was never going to get good again. And that's one of the biggest dangers of slumps. Sometimes you just get in such a deep slump that you're never playing as good as you used to, and it's just so discouraging, so you fucking quit. And it's really important that people understand what a slump is and they know how to actually combat it pretty effectively. Now, obviously the main reason slumps are dangerous is because not only one, it causes people to quit games in the first place, but two, it also makes you feel like you are just completely terrible at the game and it discourages you insanely. It's extremely discouraging to see yourself play very well and then to instantly drop off. And I understand what that feels like. So I'm going to teach some of the best ways that I have known to get out of slumps. Now, I'm going to introduce some ways to push through them, because pushing through slumps is very effective, and there are also other methods. There are also other methods you can actually use to get through slumps, aside from just straight up pushing through a slump. And real quick, I'm going to give an example of what a slump can be looked at as. I found this from a YouTuber. I don't know who. I can't find the video. This was a long time ago. I found this in CSGO, but I still remember this specifically. And it's basically where you're driving a car to and from work every fucking day, right? You're driving this sexy ass, I don't know, Ford Explorer Sport Track, I guess. Let's say you're driving a Ford Explorer Sport Track. You just got it. It's a brand new car. Everything's fresh to you. You love it. And then you drive it every day to and from work, and eventually it just starts becoming habit, routine. You're not loving the interior, the fresh car smell's gone, and you're just doing it. You're on autopilot the entire time. Whenever you get to your location, that's when you wake back up. You're on autopilot the entire time you're actually driving. And this can be kind of compared to games. And yes, I understand that Valorant is a new game, but people are already getting into slumps and ruts in this game, as from what I've been told. I haven't personally experienced a slump yet, but I know I will eventually. And I know the same thing that has taught me from other games like Counter-Strike, Overwatch, Fortnite, which I also played at a high level. All three of these games, it all has the same basis around slumps. Slumps is pretty much the same thing. It's a dip in consistency. You play good for a certain amount of time and then you slowly decline or even rapidly decline. Now, one of the biggest fucking reasons people fall into slumps is because they play so much that they develop a certain play style without being aware to it, whether it's hyper aggression or hyper passive. And certain players know how to play around your certain play style. And a lot of the times you'll get shut down and you'll start internalizing the fact that you're doing bad for a certain reason, whether it be your settings are off, you're fucking lagging, I don't know, maybe this fucking idiot shouldn't have peeked you that way. You start internalizing the fact that you're playing bad for a certain reason, which in reality, a lot of the times it's just that playstyle that you've developed just isn't the best. And sometimes, you know, your playstyle is good. It's fucking fine, but you make mistakes and you don't even realize them. You make minor mistakes that end up getting you killed constantly, and you're gonna miss them because you're in a set playstyle, you're in a set mindset, you're not even paying attention to the certain facts. When you are in a slump, you need to focus on being completely aware of what you are doing and why you are doing it. Those are the two biggest questions you need to ask yourself when you're in a slump. Why did I peak that? What am I doing right now? What am I trying to accomplish this round? And one of the biggest facts of slumps is the more you think about you being in a slump is the more that you are going to tilt yourself and the worse you're going to play. The more you internalize the fact that you are slumped right now and you can't get out of it, the worse it's going to be. And changing settings, a lot of people like to change settings. Like they'll change their crosshair, they'll change their resolution, they'll fucking play around with all their video settings. Changing settings, in my opinion, is a very temporary fix. Because if you play with these settings, like if you have your settings, your set settings that you've always played good with, and then you change them, yes, you aren't going to be on autopilot anymore, because it's basically making you force yourself to focus on what you're doing in the game more because your settings are different. They're going to feel new and fresh again. So it's only really a temporary fix. You'll play better for a little bit maybe, but once you get to a certain point, you're going to start playing even worse than before. Most of the times you will play even worse than you did before you changed those settings after a certain period of time, because you're going to get used to those settings again, and those settings might not actually be best for you. You were just playing well because you had different settings. So one of the first steps you need to take when you are in a slump is realizing that you are in a slump. That is one of the biggest things you need to understand. You need to know when you're in a slump to actually work your way out of it. So realize if you're in a slump, and then what you need to do next is just get out of your head. Just fucking stop thinking about the fact that you're in a slump. Just stop thinking about it. Because the more you think about it, the more you're going to internalize every single bad play you make, and the worse you are going to go, and the deeper you are going to go into that slump. So do whatever you need to do. You can take a break from the game. You can go do something. You can fucking meditate. I don't give a shit what you do. Just do something fun. That's not the game for a bit. Just get it out of your head. Come back to the game. Even just play the game and stop thinking about it. Literally, like, stop thinking about, oh, fuck, my rank, dude. Oh, God, I don't want to be iron anymore. Oh, shit. Just stop thinking about it, man. Like, play the game for what it is. It's a closed beta game. Now's your time to improve. If you're having fucking issues with a slump, fix it and work your way out of it. And you don't even have to think about it while you're doing it. Now, one of the biggest things with people that fall into slumps is they've just developed bad habits over time of playing the game, because somebody like me, I can use, I guess, myself as an example. I climbed from silver to immortal in like a few days, and obviously people that play at silver and people that play at immortal are going to be very different players. So let's take some random person, right? Say they're playing at iron or silver, and they climb all the way through the ranks and they get to diamond. The people that they were playing with at iron are going to be completely different than the people they were playing with at diamond. If they are playing at iron, eventually, if they deserve to be a higher rank, what they are going to do, if they are good enough and if they are confident in their play, is they're going to make very risky plays that work out for them. And they're going to realize that it's working out for them. So they're slowly going to start developing bad habits because of that, because they can get away with certain shit that just would not fly at the higher levels of play. And when I was going up the ranks, I slowly started to realize throughout my time playing that the shit I was doing and getting away with in iron, I wouldn't be able to get away with once I hit like higher diamond. I knew that. So I had to slowly make sure I was adjusting my play, because if I didn't adjust my play by the time I got to diamond, I wouldn't have made it through diamond, because I would be playing like a fucking idiot at diamond. So this same exact concept applies to literally everybody. If you are a player and you have good games occasionally, you are going to realize like what you were doing in those games that made you play well. And then once you try it in another game and you get shut down for doing it because the other team knows how to counter stuff like that, and you keep trying to do shit like that and you keep getting shut down, it's going to slowly start putting you into a slump. You need to actually realize like the boundaries between a risky play and good play, and what is a mistake and what isn't, and what's like a calculated risk versus what is just a stupid play in general to do. So this literally applies to every ranks, because every single time you queue up for a game, you are playing different players at different levels of skill, and some of those players may be better than you, and they may be expecting exactly what you are about to do, and they have plans in their own head ready for you to do your dumb shit. So you have to make sure that you are controlling the engagements you put yourself into. And you need to actually try and think about the engagements you take before you do them. Like, is this play that I'm about to do, is it actually worth it? The risk versus reward and the outcome. And think about the percentages of you actually getting fucking punished. Now, this is going to help you insanely if you are constantly thinking about the engagements you are taking and how they will work out for you. You want to be in the favorable engagement. You want to stop putting yourself in engagements that can get you easily killed or traded, because that will tilt you. So getting out of slumps comes down to a lot of just being very careful with your engagements and being very careful with the way you play the rounds. This is going to help you get out of slumps very fast. Now, more ways I can recommend getting out of slumps are literally just dropping the game for extended periods of time, like 5 or 6 days, coming back, boot camping your aim, boot camping your playstyle, and just coming right back into it. Or what you can do to push through a slump is just consistently grind and just keep going until you feel like you're through it. But just know, while you are grinding, you have to constantly be trying to improve on your play. You have to constantly be thinking about your play, because if you're just doing the same shit over and over and you aren't thinking about it, you're just trying to mindlessly push through a slump, you're not going to get any better that way. You're not going to get out of the slump. So don't mindlessly push forward through a slump. You have to have a set plan, whether it's aim drilling for like 30 minutes a day, hopping into some games, and then VOD reviewing. Just know that without continual effort, you aren't going to get out of the slump. You might get to a point where you're playing decent again, but with slumps, usually when I would go through a slump is I would get slumped and I would push through it, and at the other end of the slump I would become an even better player than I was before the slump. So slumps can be a blessing in disguise, because it really makes you think about your playstyle, and it makes you think about the decisions you're making and what you can change in your own personal playstyle. So just know, yes, slumps suck, but with the right practice and the right mindset, you can push through them. They're not the end of your fucking career. So I know this video may not apply to a lot of you, because a lot of you are just casual players, and I get that. But for those of you that I helped, I really hope this did actually help you. Everyone I know has a different take on slumps. Everyone I've talked to has a different take on slumps. But this is my personal take on the topic, because I've had a lot of experience with the topic, and I used to be one of the most inconsistent players you could ever fucking find. But right now, and honestly for the last year before I quit my game, when I was playing Counter-Strike, I started becoming very consistent, and it's because I started internalizing my play, and I started realizing what worked for me and what was actually a mistake and what I needed to cut out in my playstyle. Now, yes, I still make some pretty stupid fucking mistakes, but the key thing here is that I remember them. And usually before I make this stupid ass play, I'll calculate the risk, and I will tell myself, like, yeah, this probably isn't gonna work, but if it does, it's gonna be fucking worth it. So just know that this is my take on slumps. So don't take this as fucking the word of God, but you know, I'm pretty much am, you know, the world's best Valorant player, so just take it as you want.